Welcome to our first episode of Stump the Nutrition Coach. I'm Holly Broderick. I'm a nutrition coach, and I am going to be discussing two different topics today. I had some really wonderful questions asked of me in the past 24 hours, and I actually had to go to the grocery store to research. So the first question was from my friend Janice, and she was asking about kale chips. Now, I found that not all kale chips are created equal. And if you make them at home, she's asking if you make them and you spritz on some apple cider vinegar and, some olive oil, if it's healthier than having, say, a potato chip. The answer to that is most definitely yes. If you're making them at home, you're dehydrating your kale yourself and you're spritzing it with your olive oil and your apple cider vinegar, 100% it is definitely going to be more healthy for you than, say, your potato chips. I did find when I went to the store, though, today that they do have something that's called kale chips that look like green potato chips because they essentially are green potato chips. Kale was one of the last ingredients in them. So if you're going to get kale chips from the store, these are the ones that I like because they actually look like dehydrated kale, and I'll show you what I mean. And the ingredients are really simple. See? Yeah, I know for my hippie friends, my ganja-loving friends, I'm sure it looks like something else, but it is definitely just kale. So the other question that I had was from my friend Jenny, and it was a three-parter, so I'm going to read the question to you. It'll take me just a second to pull it up. She was asking about cheese. She wanted to know if cheese is, so let me just read it. It says, nutrition question, how important is it to eat or avoid cheese? Is it a binder? Is it full of fat and dairy that are hard to digest? Tell me the pros and cons of this yummy food. Well, here's the thing about cheese. There are about 1 billion different types of cheese. And to say that all cheese is good or all cheese is bad is just not appropriate because there are so many different varieties. For me, I do like cheese. I love cheese. I prefer to have the hard cheese because of the phosphorus content. Phosphorus helps your bones stay nice and strong, and if you're a child, it helps them become nice and strong. But I also feel that it has a lot of calcium. There's some good things about cheese. There are some also not so good things about cheese. Like a lot of different cheeses today, they're made with soy. And, soy has gotten this very mixed review lately, especially. And for me, it's not worth having. If I can get away without having soy, that's what I'm going to do because there are phytoestrogens in soy, a lot more so in soy than in other beans, and they affect your hormones. So for me, I prefer to do my research and make sure that the brands that I'm purchasing when it comes to cheese don't use soy. So there's that. As far as it being something that's a binder, while cheese is not in and of itself a binder, it also doesn't help the process along either. So what Jenny's talking about with being a binder, is it something that constipates you? Is it something that holds you back, so to speak? And the thing is that it's fiber is the biggest proponent of helping digestion, so to speak, helping things move along, right? So cheese doesn't have that fiber. It's an animal product. It does not have that fiber that, let's say, your kale most definitely would. So if you are going to have cheese, have something that's fiber filled as well. So this way you have something to assist and move it along. There are definitely cheeses that are better for you than others. There are cheeses that are not even really cheese. So when you look for a cheese, look for a cheese that's a harder cheese. That's my preference because of the phosphorus content. And look for cheeses where you can pronounce the ingredients. If you look at something, this is a good rule for just about anything. If you look at something and you cannot pronounce the ingredients, or you have a question as to what every ingredient in there really is, that's probably not something that you should be eating. So I'm sorry that I couldn't give a more definitive answer on the cheese question. The other thing is with cheese, there are a lot of people that are lactose intolerant that cannot handle the cheese. So for them, it's obviously not a good thing. And there's a huge issue with the way that some of our cows are being treated. They're getting antibiotics. They're getting foods that they're not naturally meant to eat. Cows should be out there in the field, munching on the grass, munching on the plants and what have you. They shouldn't be in stalls all day long, getting milks all day long, and that does happen a lot, and that affects the food. So if you're really wanting to get the best, most high quality cheese or meat, you're going to want to go for cheeses and meats that have been free range, pretty much, grass fed, free range, out there. I think just out there in the fields, munching on the grass, doing their thing. You want, there's a company, Happy Cow. I don't know anything about them per se. I don't know anything about their practices, but the idea that they portray about the happy cow producing better food is absolutely truth. That is absolutely 100% true, not truth. The happier the cow, the less stress hormones and things are going to come through that cow. And same thing with sheep, same thing with goats, same thing with any of these animals that we are imbibing on, that we're taking in. If the better they're treated, the better quality you're going to get for the food. And that's just it. So when you're going to choose food to eat, these are some things to think about. Jenny, if you have any questions on any specific cheeses, we can go over that. There is one other thing that I wanted to mention with some of the powdered cheeses. The cheeses like Parmesan. You'll see in them something, I forget what the exact name of the enzymes is. But you'll see on there where it says something and then enzymes. And what that normally is pretty much sawdust. And the reason that they put it in there is so this way the cheese does not bind together. It doesn't stick together. So you can actually get it out of the container. And it's not a whole lot of these enzymes. It's not like half and half or anything like that. But it's still something to consider when you are choosing your cheese. I prefer not to have it in there. So I read labels, and it takes me forever to go grocery shopping. But anyhow, I thank you for tuning in. I hope that you learned something. Send me some questions so this way you can stump the nutrition coach. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.